Okay, the following is a recording of my story that I sent to 1047 here in Victoria, Texas. And then they caught EVPs within my phone calls from my house. This is creepy, and you gotta hear it.
Hit Radio 104.7.
Yesterday, Desiree called in a story, and actually a couple of years ago, she had called in a story about there was weird knocking and noises and stuff happening when she lived in an apartment over there behind Academy. Well, it turns out since that story a couple of years ago, she's moved twice, and it seems like things have followed her from location to location. So yesterday, Desiree called in her story to let us know what was going on at her latest apartment. So this was yesterday on the show. Desiree, Haunted Texas.
Desiree, I called last year and I had the haunted doorbell.
Oh, yeah, I remember that when you were living over there by Academy.
Yes, well, y'all asked me a question if it followed. It did.
Oh, so now you've moved and you're still experiencing weird things?
I've moved now twice. We moved right after Harvey because we lost an apartment to Harvey. And as far as we know, in that apartment, nothing happened. But when we moved, after I talked to you guys, the apartment we lived in on Regency and the apartment we just moved into, we've had some things happen. Some of the stuff has answered some questions. Other stuff is just like, all right, what the hell is going on here?
All right, well, tell me some of the weird things that has happened in your current apartment.
The current one we just moved into like a month ago. And I have some wooden stools that I keep in mine and my husband's bedroom by the bed for like bedside table.
Sure.
And they're really light. My 5-year-old son was going to take one of them upstairs, and my 2.5-year-old daughter was laying on the couch asleep. And we're downstairs, and my husband's getting the last of the loads, and all of a sudden my son's like 3 steps up. And his bedroom door slammed shut.
Okay. His bedroom door slammed shut. Nobody was in the room.
Nobody was in the room. And my husband tried to explain away. He's like, well, the doors do open by themselves. I said, key word there, open.
But not shut, right.
Not shut, and not with that kind of force. And there were no windows open or anything. Well, since then, we've had someone knock at our front door.
Now, the knocking on the front door, I remember, is what was happening at the apartment behind Academy, right?
Yes, but we're awake at this time, and we're downstairs next to the door. So there's no time for anybody to, like, run a great distance from us or jump in a car and pull away real quick.
So as soon as you would hear knocking on the front door, you guys would rush to open it and nobody would be there.
Right. We thought it was like my sister coming to visit. This happened like Saturday.
Okay.
And we opened the door and nobody's there. And I'm like even on the phone calling my sister like, where are you? She's like, I'm at Walmart on 59. I'm like, okay, so you're nowhere near here.
And I remember that when you guys lived over there by Academy, you had I think if I remember the story correctly, you had a video doorbell, and so so whenever someone would ring the doorbell or knock on it, you would look and there would be nothing on the camera.
Right. Well, we don't have that here because we don't have Wi-Fi yet.
Sure.
We haven't gotten that yet.
Gotcha.
And then last night, my daughter was climbing the stairs and she slipped. And at the same time she slipped, the refrigerator door opened wide open in the kitchen.
Okay, now see, refrigerator doors don't just come open by themselves.
No, they don't.
That is kind of weird too.
So
yeah, they don't.
To kind of refresh my memory, when you were at that first house and everything happened, you said it followed you. Did you ever figure out did somebody play a Ouija board or something? Did someone open a certain door?
Here's the thing. Here's how we figured some of the questions out from that apartment. My mom was getting ready to move over the summer. She moved out of state. And because my mom's disabled and she had no one else to help her because my stepdad was already working out of state, my husband was helping her. And I swear one night, I saw somebody peek in my bedroom and wave at me. because I could see from where I lay in bed, my son's bedroom, and my husband would normally, like, either text me or peek inside and wave at me and motion for me to come out and hang out with him or whatever when he got home. And, like, 10 minutes later, I'd say at most, I hear the door move, the front door. I get up and I'm like, did you just come home or have you been here? He's like, I literally just drove up.
So he wasn't at home when you saw someone out your window waving at you?
No, not in my window, in my hallway.
Oh, and someone was in your hallway?
It was in my hallway.
And what did it look like? Who did it look? Did it look like your husband?
It looked like my husband. But here's the funny thing and the kicker. He brought home my son's baby book. My son has never seen this book. It went to my mom's to be put in a state when my son was 9 months old. He brings it home, and inside this baby book is a pamphlet, like kind of like a program from a funeral, and it was his biological father's funeral, and it had pictures of him from when he was healthy in it. And my son sees it when I'm looking at it, like, the next night, and he goes, Mommy, who's that man? And out of curiosity, I go, why? He goes, that's the man that's been in my room since the Boogeyman house, which is what he called the house over behind Academy. I said, really? I said, that's Papa such and such. He goes, he's nice. He talks to me and watches me play. That explains the phantom coffee at like 4 o'clock in the morning, the phantom cigarette smoke, and the phantom clone.
Wow. So you guys have, I guess, you guys have figured it out that it's your husband's grandfather.
No, my ex's dad.
Your ex's dad?
Yes. That's just some of it. I mean, the like opening of the refrigerator, why would he open my refrigerator? Like, really? Refrigerator?
Right, okay, so I got it now. So that is your son's biological father's dad, so his grandfather.
Right.
From
his paternal grandfather.
Right, okay. Wow.
Yes.
So now that you've kind of figured it out, how do you feel about it?
I'm not mad. I mean, he's looking after his grandson. When he passed away, my son was like a month old. So I'm not mad. He's looking in on him. It's the other stuff that we can't explain away, like, oh, that's just so and so, that kind of gets to us, like the knocking on the front door, the opening of our refrigerator, the shadows that have been happening constantly, the talking, women's voices talking.
Okay, so you're like, okay, Grandpa can stay, but everybody else needs to go.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody else out my door now.
Okay, yeah. So it sounds like there's multiple spirits or something happening. There's actually, and I don't think I've talked about it before on the show, but have you heard? There's a new shop here in town called Something Magical.
I think I heard you talk about it like last week or something.
Yeah, I think maybe I gave them a shout out. But and they advertise with us. But there's a store. It's for the people that own D&D. It's called Something Magical, and it's located over there next to the Armed Forces on Navarro, about a block away from HEB. They actually sell sage in there, and they sell crystals. So it sounds to me like maybe you need to like do a house cleansing and cleanse your house. And they already have the sage bundled up. All you have to do is light it and go around and.
We blessed the house with holy water when we moved in. Both places.
Okay.
And we burned sage, and like nothing happened.
Really?
Nothing worked.
Well, you know what? It wouldn't hurt if you just go there and tell them what's going on, and maybe they can find something else. Apart from that, you may have to call in somebody to come in there and help get rid of. And you guys aren't doing anything like the Ouija board or anything, right?
Oh no! I'm a firm believer in. That thing is not freak-free or risk-free, and just because it says Parker Brothers or Milton Bradley does not mean you're going to get Derry and Sally on the other end.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely right. All right. So you know what time it is.
Yes.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks for sharing that story. Once again, I would say go buy Something Magical anyway and just tell them what's going on and see if they can offer any other kind of advice, because they have, all kinds of candles, and herbs and crystals and stuff like that, then maybe that can help. But if it starts getting worse, let us know about it, because we can get you in touch with the paranormal group. If your husband, talk it over with him if he wants to go that route, and see if they can help out.
Yeah, give it a once over and see what we can do.
Well, definitely keep us updated though on what's going on.
Oh, will do.
7:43. That was Desiree. Yes, that's this morning on Facebook.
Yeah, she said this morning I caught a girl giggling or crying on her recorder, and she said that her daughter was asleep.
Gotcha. So here in the next hour, we'll have a follow-up to this story. But so yesterday, after Desiree called in that story, and after the show was over, I called her back to let her know that she had won the Phobia Haunted House tickets for the best story of the morning. And but I listened back to the call before I called her. I listened back to what we just played on the air, and I noticed something stuck out on me. There was another voice on the tape. So I called Desiree back and I said, hey, is this you? And she said, no, there were no other females in the house. So I actually caught an EVP while we were doing that phone call, which is kind of creepy. And I'm going to play that EVP back for you here in the next hour. At the time that I called her back to let her know, I caught a voice on the phone call. For some strange reason, we're already on the phone chatting. I said, all right, I'm just going to hit record. And so I recorded half of our phone conversation. Well, I captured another EVP while we were talking. And she said, when I called in the story this morning, she goes, I didn't tell you when you asked me if I had ever done any EVPs. But she goes, I did in that first house. And I caught a voice that said, I'm here.
No.
And so when we were talking on the phone, when I said, oh, that's interesting, and then I got off the phone with her, I listened back to the conversation I just had with her, recorded, and I caught another EVP. And it says, I'm here. Or it could be in here, but it's a female voice again. This one sounds like an older one. The first one sounds more like a kid. And then she said she caught like child's giggles with a recorder this morning, and her daughter was asleep. So we're going to play you back both those EVPs coming up. And just then, while we were playing back this story, there's two more weird things that stuck out when I was listening to it. I could have swore I heard two more voices on the tape. So if I have time during the show, I'll review it, because there could be more EVPs in there. So, I mean, if someone calls in our show and tells us that their place is haunted and we capture all kinds of EVPs, then, yeah, it's a pretty good sign that they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
And if you have a scary story you want to share with us, this haunted Texas call from Desiree. As promised, I told you that we caught a couple of EVPs from that phone call. So here's one I'm going to play back for you. Listen to this segment. Gotcha.
I even left the recorder in my son's bedroom the whole night, and nothing ever made a noise or made a noise to be caught on.
All right, so there's just a little excerpt from our phone call. She said that she had actually caught a voice one time, many years ago in the first place she lived, when she tried to use a recorder that said, I'm here. So I noticed as we were talking, I heard something, and when we got off the phone, I reviewed the tape, and sure enough, we captured another voice, and she confirmed that there was no one else in the room with her.
The whole night, and the whole night, and the whole night, and
Now you'll hear right after she says the whole night, there's another voice on here.
Shit.
She pushed one of the buttons.
Come on.
Because you need the joy, the hope, and encouragement.
Right here is the voice that was not, there was no one else in her home. And so we'll amplify that just a little bit so that you can hear it a little bit better. But here is that voice. And what we'll also do right now is we'll slow it down a little bit.
Okay,
the background.
So there's a voice right there saying either I'm here or in here. And so once again, when you play back that little expert, it goes like this. Gotcha.
I even left the recorder in my son's bedroom the whole night, and nothing ever made a noise.
So that is one of the first EVPs that we caught. So once again, that was just a conversation I was having with her after the show to tell her that we had caught something, and that's when we caught that EVP. Once again, saying I'm here or in here, which is kind of cool.
No, it is.
And it actually freaked her out as well. Now there was another EVP that we caught, which goes by really fast. And coming up later, I'm going to play that back for you as well here on the show. And as I was listening to that phone call, there was a couple of other voices that I heard on there. I couldn't make them out, so I didn't want to play back on the air. But it seems like there's just like voices all over that phone call.
I think this is the first time since I've been here. It's the first time we actually like heard something during a Haunted Texas segment story.
Yeah, definitely on the phone. I don't think we've ever caught an EVP on the phone before. So that's definitely something new. And once again, if you've got a scary story, the other one that we caught, here, let me see if I can find it. If we play it here.
I saw somebody peek in my bedroom and wave at me.
Oh, and someone was in your hallway.
It was in my hallway.
And what did it look like? Who did it look? Did it look like? Okay, right there. It sounds like a little kid's voice. It's saying either cream or green while Desiree's talking. And what did it look like? Who did it look? Right here. So I'll just isolate it right here. This is the first EVP that we caught that I told her, okay, is this you? Was there anyone else in your home? And she said no. It was just, my husband, but he wasn't speaking. So here's the voice that we caught. Who did it look? Who did it look? Who did it look? So it's obviously when I'm talking, something underneath me says cream or green when I was asking her a question.
It was in my hallway.
And what did it look like? Who did it look? So once again, there it is, isolated. It's either cream or green. Who did it look? Who did it look? So what do you think about that one?
No, that was pretty legit though. But like I said, I didn't hear it when till like afterwards, and I did share it to our Instagram, Hit Radio 104.7, see if y'all guys want to play it back to here to figure out maybe what it could be saying.
Yeah, let me slow it down a bit. Who did it look? Who did it look? So
maybe it's me. I hear Queen.
Who did it look? Okay, well, you're right. Maybe it is Queen. I didn't think about that. I could be green, could be cream, could be Queen. Maybe someone likes...
yes, Queen.
I was thinking Freddie Mercury Queen, the band Queen.
Oh, singing the totally different Queen.
Yeah, I know. You were thinking of...
in my hallway.
And what did it look like? Who did it look? Did it look like it looked like Ariana, the Queen?
Like Queen.
Latina.
Yes, Queen.
Latina del Radio. 8:38. All right, so there you go. So if you have a scary story to share, let us know. Also, coming up here in a few minutes, I think we have Joel from Booth.